Freshly promoted to the rank of Battle Emperor, Xiao Yan ventured alone into the Four Pavilion Conference, finally meeting the pivotal figure in his quest, Wind Sage Feng Zun. As we pick up from the last encounter, Xiao Yan, determined to locate Feng Zun, decided to head to the Wind and Thunder Eastern Pavilion. This was the venue for the current Four Pavilion Conference, and Feng Zun, as one of the participants, was expected to be present. Seeking the aid of this revered figure would greatly enhance Xiao Yan's chances of rescuing Medicine Elder. The Wind and Thunder Mountains were now teeming with people, all drawn by the allure of the Four Pavilion Conference. To avoid trouble, Xiao Yan concealed his appearance. Given his well-known history with the Wind and Thunder Pavilion, openly revealing himself would surely provoke a response, especially with Thunder Sage seated there. Despite Xiao Yan's recent breakthrough to Battle Emperor level, facing such formidable figures required discretion. His sole purpose in coming to the Wind and Thunder Mountains was to locate Wind Sage Feng Zun. He had no interest in engaging in any conflicts within the pavilion. Having altered his appearance, Xiao Yan swiftly made his way into the mountain range, following the flow of people. Eventually, upon reaching Thunder Mountain, he halted. Ahead, two paths led up the mountain, each guarded by an elder. When Xiao Yan's gaze fell upon these two individuals, his eyes narrowed. They were the strongmen who had accompanied Feng Qing'er to the Tianmu Mountains previously. Recognizing their formidable strength, Xiao Yan couldn't immediately gauge whether his altered appearance would withstand their scrutiny. At this moment, the elder in crimson robes announced the rules. The left path was for spectators, while the right path was for young strong participants. To qualify for the conference, one needed to meet 3 conditions: possessing strength equivalent to or exceeding a 3-star Battle Emperor, being under 30 years old, and enduring 5 rounds of combat against him. This declaration stirred quite a commotion. Fulfilling any one of these conditions was challenging, let alone all 3. Consequently, the majority opted for the left path. After some hesitation, Xiao Yan also headed towards the designated path, his aim solely to locate Wind Sage Feng Zun. He had no interest in engaging in battles within the Wind and Thunder Pavilion. While most ascended the left path, a few determined individuals of considerable strength attempted the right path, only to be summarily dismissed by Elder Fire with a slap. Observing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but smirk inwardly. However, as he set foot on the stone path, Elder Fire suddenly called out, "Wait." Hearing this, Xiao Yan's clenched fist within his sleeve tightened. Elder Fire continued calmly, "I sense that you may qualify for the competition. Why not give it a try?" With all eyes now on him, Xiao Yan replied, "I have no interest in the conference. I'm here merely to find someone." He then turned and continued towards the summit, leaving behind a stunned audience. Beside Elder Fire, an elderly woman frowned as she glanced at Xiao Yan. "There's something unusual about this person," she murmured. "I sense a brief fluctuation in the surrounding fire energy when he stepped onto the path. I can't quite put my finger on it." As Xiao Yan proceeded calmly towards the summit, a colorful giant crane suddenly swooped down from above, heading straight for the mountaintop. Perched atop it was a graceful and beautiful figure, none other than Feng Qing'er, the pride of the Wind and Thunder Pavilion. Seeing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but furrow his brow. He was certain she concealed some treasure to mask her aura, otherwise, with his current strength, he wouldn't find it so difficult to gauge her depth. Of all the participants, Feng Qing'er posed the greatest danger. Perhaps due to the Wind and Thunder Pavilion's association, Xiao Yan harbored no particular fondness for her. If he witnessed her claiming victory in the upcoming conference, Xiao Yan couldn't deny feeling a slight sense of displeasure. After a brief murmur, Xiao Yan swiftly moved towards the summit. At the peak, there was a vast silver square with rows of excellent vantage point seats. Currently unoccupied, these seats were clearly reserved for prominent figures within the 4 pavilions. Seeing that the conference had yet to commence, Xiao Yan sat cross-legged, closing his eyes in meditation. At that moment, a thunderous bolt of lightning descended from the clouds, followed by 4 figures, stepping out calmly and seating themselves on the silver wooden chairs. Among them was Xiao Yan's familiar acquaintance, Fei Tian. The figure in the center, undoubtedly, was the Thunder Sovereign. Although his aura seemed less formidable compared to Fei Tian and the others, Xiao Yan, with his keen spiritual sense, distinctly felt an extreme danger emanating from him, a sensation even Fei Tian had not experienced. As Xiao Yan marveled inwardly, a rushing sound broke the air once more, and a colossal sword, measuring 10 feet in length, slashed through the sky, carrying an old and a young figure. The younger individual was Tang Ying from the Sword Pavilion, accompanied by an equally fearsome elder. Seeing this, the Thunder Sovereign in his silver robes laughed heartily. "Ha ha, Sword Sovereign, you're the first to arrive this time." Ignoring the Thunder Sovereign's laughter, the Sword Sovereign rolled his eyes and plopped down on his chair. Just as he settled, a sinister chuckle rang out. He, the old sword geezer still has that foul temper. It seems the grudge from our past match still lingers. The newcomer was an elderly figure, cloaked in black robes, with a familiar silhouette trailing behind him, none other than Wang Chen from the Yellow Spring Pavilion. The sword sovereign glanced at the black-robed elder and casually remarked, "I was simply unlucky back then to lose to him, Thunder Sovereign. Compared to someone who barely lasted 100 rounds against Wind Sovereign, I'd say I fared much better. Wouldn't you agree, Yellow Spring Sovereign?" Hearing this, the black-robed elder's expression turned icy, but before he could retort, his countenance shifted slightly. His gaze locked onto the sky, where a roaring wind suddenly echoed like a dragon's cry. The sword sovereign looked up, chuckling. "This old fellow is always the fastest, but prefers to arrive last." As the sword sovereign spoke, a cyclone of green wind silently approached. At the appearance of this green cyclone, Xiao Yan's gaze shifted abruptly, fixating on the figure within the swirling winds. "Is that the Wind Sovereign?"